Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU, the mighty mix spammer, and the music is very quiet for some reason. I guess it's just the quieter part of the music. Anyway, welcome back to my Endless Space playthrough. It has been a couple of days. There's my friend Holyface back again. He was missing you greatly. He whispered it to my ear, but he's too ashamed to actually admit it himself, so he's staying quiet. Look at, yeah, he's changing colors whenever he's kinda ashamed and embarrassed. Yeah, now he's not anymore because he's kinda enraged that I'm talking about how he is embarrassed. But anyway, we should continue with the gameplay itself, shall we? So what I did off camera was, well, I did have a bunch of magnetic 2.0s in my hangar, which I decided to merge with my Delta fleet. It is still guarding the Matrix. Now, I don't actually want to try and invade Sakor again. Not only because I wouldn't succeed, but also because it wouldn't give me anything. Granted, I would possibly destroy a couple of the enemy's ships. However, you do have to keep in mind that it wouldn't be worth those ships' cost. They do take quite a bit of industry to make right now, and losing them would not give me anything. However, this would change when I actually am able to acquire a new hero. If I, for example, could get this Gagarin hero, which is one of my... I think he's my favorite human hero, to be quite honest. Then, in fact, I could just send this fleet over and over and over again, make it barely survive the fight, and then run away like a coward, just leveling up my hero, which could potentially be beneficial. Now, however, there is little benefit of me attacking, so I'd rather not do this. Also, was I supposed to send those magnetics to fight the pilgrims or not? I don't really remember. I forgot to check this before recording, I'm sorry. Do they have any deflector? No, they just have weapons and ammo, because I have not discarded flak yet. Oh, yes, I forgot about this one. Right, so off camera I decided to go ahead and research high energy magnetics. Poor decision, because I do need this flak. I need it quite badly, so how about I try to go and research the newer version of flak as soon as possible, because flak is fairly popular, let's face it. I mean, not flak, the missiles are, and I do need some kind of protection against them. Now, let's finish the moves of all of my fleets. My scout has discovered, wow, what seems to be a decent system. What did I get? A randomly discovered technology, that's nice. What is it? It's... Well, ask for it and you shall receive. Those are my high energy magnetics that I wanted so badly. Now I have them. Very, very nice. That's extraordinarily lucky for me. Anyway, this system, an interesting system, though I actually kinda do want to colonize it. I do have medium tundra with dust water, which will allow me to colonize the system with relative ease. It won't be extremely easily, but actually double mineral pool lava, that's gonna be annoying. But deserted cities on tiny Arctic, it's decent. I mean, Arctic doesn't have any industry on its own, so deserted cities make it slightly less useless. Especially if I were to you know, transform it into like lava planet or something similar. And yeah, I kinda like the system. I'll probably colonize it later down the line. But in the meantime, I want the scout to continue exploring in this direction, because I'm really curious what is in there. I mean, look at this. It's like a very long highway to nowhere, and I'm curious where this nowhere really is. Alrighty then. Now, with this newly discovered technology, I do want to get, how is it called? Interplanet exchange, no, transport network, that's right, on those of my systems that can actually support it with its industry. So let's have a quick look. How much does it cost? 100? No, only 70. But I still don't quite have 70 on any of my systems, do I? I don't think I do. No, I need to save up more industry till that happens, but that's okay, I can wait. Now, I do need to keep industry to dust conversion on my main system. Unfortunately, it will lower the amount of industry I can get and stockpile for later use, but at the moment I have to do this, because if I do not, then I lose dust. Obviously, I could raise the taxes, but then some of my wards become unhappy, which I don't want to be the case. Well, end of the line is, my home system is actually fairly good already, and even though I would like for it to have interplanet transport network, it will be able to get it fairly soon, despite this industry to dust conversion, so I don't think it will hurt me too much to go for it. Also, I could now lower my tax rate to my main system ecstatic, however, I would rather not do this. I need to save up a bit of dust to hire a new hero, which is exactly what I'm trying to achieve. Now then, I do have two fleets. One is a fleet of mass ships just trying and head into general direction of the pilgrims. But you know what I'm actually tempted to do? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this. So those magnetic 2.0s are designed to fight pilgrims, and not the Sheridan. So instead of having them here and probably die while dealing minimal damage to the Sheridan, what I'm going to do is separate those magnetic ships that are actually designed to fight Sheridan, and I'm gonna merge them with some of those mass ships. So that's 5 plus 3 is 8, so right, so just 4 of them, there we go, pro mathematics skills. And those guys will stay in here and guard my matrix system from the Sheridan, while my magnetics, with accompanied by a single mass ship, are going to actually try and deal some damage and possibly take my guard post back, because I do want the system. It is fairly awesome, and well, I need it, as simple as that, because with this system pilgrims actually managed to make it to become better than the Sowers, which ultimately isn't that hard, but that's exactly what just happened. So I'm gonna end the 10. I don't need to drink the juice quite yet, so instead I'm gonna share a random fact with you. I actually have 2 of them prepared. What first? Cocaine, or what was the other one? Helium. Well, actually this 10 passed very quickly, so I don't think I have enough time to talk about either of those. But remind me to talk about either cocaine or helium later, because those are some fairly interesting findings. But anyway, a random discovery thingy. Explore decreases, desecrates endless temple. Oh, I think we know this. I think it was actually one of the first unexpected events that I recorded. Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, it decreases my trade order bonuses. Not a big problem considering I'm currently at war with everybody and have no trade routes at all. Actually, do I? No, I do not. I for a second wasn't sure if I have blockade breakers, but I do not. Besides, I think the blockade breakers no longer work when you are at war, so yeah. Anyway, I got attacked. How about we go to manual, and this will allow me to actually get some juice going, because I think that my subconsciousness lied to me when it said, hey, you don't need this juice, I don't need juice, I'm a juice drinking beast and I need it. Anyway, the enemy is still using missiles, isn't he? Yeah, the pilgrims are this way, I hate them. So, short circuit. I do want to use it to counter the enemy. Actually, do I? I don't remember anymore what the pilgrims were using, but I think it will allow me to counter them, will it not? No, they use short circuit themselves. Right, so nano persistence does counter short circuit. Speaking of short circuit, Ace Cricket brought something to my attention. Now, a long time ago, something was discovered, and it was the fact that short circuit's description is actually wrong, because it was not really decreasing the accuracy of enemy weapons. Instead, it was... I don't remember what it was doing right now. It was doing something with beam weapons and kinetics. However, what happens now? Oh, I got countered. That's wonderful and splendid. I'm gonna lose this. But anyway, what I thought that happened was that this short circuit error was fixed a long time ago, and now it actually works as described. It actually does decrease the enemy accuracy. But Ace Tracker brought it to my attention because he's told me that I apparently got things mixed up, and I was thinking about a mod rather than an official patch. So if what he says is true, and it might be the truth, then in fact short circuit is still not true, is still having its description written in a wrong way. It's still not doing what it says it does. Which, you know, it is kind of awkward now, because I have no idea if this was actually patched or if it has not been, and it's difficult to say. So how about we don't really talk about short circuit until this issue is cleared up. So anyway, I just lost this battle. It was kind of big loss, to be quite honest, but I got countered and things did not go all that well. I guess it happens, it's not a big problem. I do have another force trying to go ahead and grab the guard post back from the infidels, and hopefully I will be able to succeed in this movement. Hopefully. Now, however, it is kind of actually... It says only 25% of industry is converted into dust, and yet I have no industry saved up to this 110, which is kind of suspicious. Maybe, I don't know what could have happened, right, to be quite honest, but anyway, one thing I do remember, Griba is going to be stagnated in 110, which means that I have to colonize another planet, otherwise I will stagnate, which is never a good thing, so I'm gonna go ahead and colonize Ocean right away. Now, Ruins, do you have enough industry to go for interplanetary transport network? Yes, you do indeed, that is the case, which is very important because this thing is amazing. Now, however, yeah, actually, that Saros can, you know, support this production as well, because they only have 55 industry saved up, but also you have to add 5% of my, faction affinity trait, and also I'm going to make 20 industry in this 10 as well, so I have more than enough to actually create this improvement, which is very, very nice. And I think those are the only systems that can do anything this 10, so I believe I'm ready to skip to the next one at this point in time. And actually drink some juice. Now this time around, I'm drinking it from a champagne glass, because I never did it before. I drank it from all sorts of glasses, but not a champagne glass until today, which I just did, and I feel awesome. Anyway, now actually with my scout around, I can see the enemy fleet and I can tell when it is actually moving or not, but honestly this is garbage information that doesn't give me a lot of stuff. This is something I really wish the devs will change one day, and this is the importance of field of vision, field of view, or whatever you want to call it, or fog of war. Right now, nobody cares about detection range of view, because it is almost useless, and maybe not entirely useless, but almost useless. And we hope that it could actually be, more important in the game. Right now it just tells me that I am about to be intercepted by pirates, which is, I would be anyway, so why do I need this knowledge? Because I cannot delay my ship from arriving to this protostar, so yeah, it's kind of thing. And my metrics still did not produce any industry, which is a little bit, frightening. So what I'll do is stop this industry to dust conversion, and I'll actually go for it in my decile systems. Because I don't need some dust production, and at the same time I need industry production as well on my main system to actually make the interplanetary transport network. Actually I can make it within a single 10, I just realized. Oops. I guess it happens. Anyway, you says just hold on over here and do nothing of usefulness. Tortuga, can you in fact go ahead and make use of sustainable farms? Yes, indeed you can, this makes me happy. How about Giriba, can you do the same thing? Actually, first of all, I need to explore this ocean, but I believe I should be able to do this easily. It only takes 14 industry and I have 18. Not a big problem. Alright, I think it is time for the random fact of the day, and how about we start with cocaine? So, how many of us do you think, by us I mean all the people that watch this video, have cocaine in our homes? The correct answer is almost certainly everyone. How many people on Earth have cocaine in their homes? Maybe not everyone, but a vast majority of us. Now, how did this happen? I'm pretty sure we don't all actually, grow cocaine in our gardens, or, I don't know, in our basements and other things like that. Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. It's because of money. So those paper bills that we use, have you ever seen, paper bills under a microscope, or any sort of paper, in fact? You can see that it is not entirely flat, it is just a bunch of tangled, I don't know how to call it. It kind of looks like a very, very dense bush. The plant thingy that is growing underground that I cannot pronounce for some reason. A very tiny packed set of twigs together, but there is a little amount of space in between them that some particles can actually be trapped in, for example cocaine. So even those very small bits and drops of cocaine can get tangled up in those, and because money travels and it travels places, it is fairly likely, if not in fact definite, that you have cocaine on your, how's it called, on your paper bills. In fact, statistics say that 92% of paper bills have cocaine contained within them. Alright, now you might say, well, okay, but how much cocaine do we actually have? Surely it's not a lot. It's just a bit, some random bits and drops of cocaine on our bills. There cannot be too much of them in there. Well, you would be surprised, because if you give your paper bills to a dog that is, trained to sniff cocaine, like the dogs on the airports or whatever, then you will in fact find out that they will detect cocaine on your paper bills. It is quite a bit of an issue in the US, as I have been informed, because, those dogs detect this cocaine when in fact there is actually a fairly small amount of it, but big enough for the dogs to detect it. which leads to some fairly funny situations in my honest opinion. Anyway, now that we stopped talking about cocaine, I think it was a little bit of random information that you might enjoy. I can in fact go for Xenotrails agencies on Tortuga 2, which I definitely will do because this will allow my dust cells to stop converting industry to dust in the next 10 probably. Right now I'll still convert it because I do need this dust because, well, quite simply, I wanted it. I want it because it will allow me to hire a new hero. And I think we can in fact skip to the next 10 again, surprisingly enough. Fine with me, I can talk a little bit more about off-topic stuff. In this case, helium. But I don't think I have enough time because the 10 has almost ended and I believe I can continue going on. Can't I? That's right, indeed I can. Alright, alternative ammos have been researched, which doesn't help me in any way, shape or form. I will, however, create stealth construction on my outpost when I take it back, although I'm fairly certain that pilgrims already created it for themselves, because they're nasty buggers like this. I hate them, I'm gonna kill them, and I'll enjoy it immensely. By the way, am I recording? Yes, indeed I am. It was fairly important information that I needed, otherwise I would freak out. Anyway, Matrix, it has stockpiled on a little bit of industry, that's good. I could use this to create magnetic field generators. I could also go for hardened framing. Reason why I want this upgrade on the system is fairly simple, it's because I'm making a bunch of ships on this system. However, it does drain some dust as well. Not a big amount, granted, but it's still something, and I really am doing my best to save up dust at this moment. In fact, I still cannot go into full-on industry to dust conversion on my... I mean, in fact, I still cannot resign from going for this conversion on my systems, which is rather annoying if I may say so myself. And I'm barely gaining any dust, which is also rather annoying. Now then, Griba, my dear Sek, what can I do for you? What can you do for me, more importantly? Well, I do need heavy isotope refineries, it is kind of no-brainer, but what else can I do with any other systems? Well, science is fairly important, because I don't want to fall behind tech-wise, so even though it does cost me this dust thing, I still kinda need to go for it, and in fact I will, after I get the interplanetary transport network. Because right now, +1 science per population mark is not all that great, considering I only have 3 population on this system, but interplanetary transport network is much better, because it not only it increases industry on the system, it will also increase it by a set percentage, which is an amazing thing indeed. Alright then, I think we still don't have much to do, so even though we are at 2 wars at once, we have a little bit of a downtime, which is good for my economy, but not necessarily good for you people who are watching the series, who expect some rapid action, loads of destruction, blowing things up and stuff like that. But don't worry, this will change very quickly. I believe the main and possibly only reason why we don't have a lot of war right now is because Sheridan have not yet discovered the applied Casimir effect and cannot travel through wormholes. As soon as they do, however, I bet they'll invade me because this force is not strong enough to actually stop them from capturing Matrix. I don't think it is. I would have to create another fighting force to actually survive a possible attack, which is kind of frightening and is forcing me to actually try and get this new hero as soon as possible and possibly have stronger economy to sustain a bigger army as well. What I also need is possibly the ability to colonize lavas, because sooner rather than later my main system will stagnate again. And what else can I colonize? I can colonize helium, which is something that I need to talk about anyway. I can colonize lavas and asteroid belts. And out of those 3 types of planets, which are not necessarily planets, but whatever, I care about lavas the most, so I would rather colonize lava than, for example, tiny asteroid belt. So I believe that next discovery that I want to make would be, in fact, well, I do want extreme metallurgy, because it does allow me to install some more stuff on my ships, which is rather amazing. And I also want to have gravity manipulation as soon as possible, but first of all, I'll get the extreme metallurgy. It's fairly cheap to get, I can get it within a single turn, it's kinda awesome. What I want to get next, however, is I might go for camouflage in the end. It does counter sabotage. Yeah, I'll go for it. Despite the fact that I said I don't want to, I will still go for it. And what else I need is most likely depleted armor to stop the how they call it, kinetics. I don't think I need shooting just yet. AI usually takes its time to actually do anything that uses beams in the early stages of the game, so I don't think it is necessary for me to have any shielding. However, the deal is entirely different with gravity manipulation. What you usually want to do is rush Planetary Institute, because A, it's extremely cheap, you can rush it even on your poorest systems, newly colonized systems, but at the same time it provides you with a lot of freebies. And it's just so incredibly, amazingly powerful that even if you are worse empire than somebody else's empire, but you get Planetary Institute faster than them, then it could actually mean that you will gain an advantage big enough to win a war against this usually stronger empire, which is huge, and I know this from my experience. Which is obviously huge. No, it isn't. I do have some experience though, you cannot deny it. Anyway, I can get interplanetary transport network within a single turn, which is fairly nice indeed. Matrix DSA. Nah, I'm gonna resist making anything at the moment. I'm gonna keep stockpiling my industry, so in case the Shredder in fact do attack me, I'll be able to pump out a bunch of destroyers to save myself, which would be fairly useful and helpful, if I may say so myself. However, I also believe that dust cells... Well, I can't get magnetic field generators just yet, which is kinda sad and annoying, but as soon as I can get it, then I'll continue industry to dust conversion. I really need more dust. I believe that's become obnoxiously clear, but at the moment there isn't really a big good system for me to colonize in order to gain more dust. There's dust load on the small Arctic, but it is small Arctic, so for me to get the system up and running, it will take forever unless I have my Planetary Institute, which would allow the system to be more easily colonizable. But until then, I will not try and colonize it. Any other system that gives me a lot of dust? No, those are one-planet systems, I don't even care about them. Maybe Takim. Ancient ruins, they do give you dust, don't they? Yes, and it's a tundra. So I believe what I could do, in fact, is create another colonization ship and colonize this system with a tundra on it called Takin. Also to stop pirates from spawning in there, and yeah, that's one thing, but from the other side, those three systems will still continue to spawn pirates, and Takin will be very vulnerable to pirate attacks. Oh well, you only live once. YOLO. No, YOLO. People said YOLO, not yellow. Anyway, let's end the turn. So, the random fact about helium. We have it in Earth's atmosphere, right? You know what is the not so cool thing about it? We are going to run out of it. Fairly soon as well. In the next 30 to 40 years. That's not a long time we're going to live to see it, unless you are too old to actually live to see it. And I'm sorry if this is the case, but in most cases, in the terms of my audience, I would expect you to actually live to see it happen, and yeah, it's not so amazing. But actually, I no longer have time to talk about this, so I'll continue next time we skip a turn, shall we? Alright. So first of all, my faction only, Legendary Wreck Analyze. That's a new artwork, I have not seen it before. But anyway, in lore it was known as the Bariak, an ancient ship of the Elders cast to wander the cosmos as it searched for the mythical beginning of time. Oh, I am beginning of time, I'm PANCZASU. Anyway, the wreck itself has been discovered and its crew before the death or disappearance, for the ship is empty. Apparently reworked it with armor of incredible thickness and durability, and this thing increased the experience on all my fleets. Very good, although I don't have a very big fleet anyway, which isn't all that great. Now the Shading have discovered applied Casimir effects, and they were able to invade my matrix. Alright, let's just get them away from here. I don't think I need to go for anything in particular. I will be able to kill this ship regardless of what it does. Although if it if it tries to run away, it will probably be able to do so, but it didn't because it was stupid. That's nice. Alright, Luminous, my dear sir, you go to Takim and try to reach the system fast. I need you to do it. Extreme metallurgy has been discovered. Do I have any source of... I actually do have a source of hexaferrum. Wow, it's very good, especially since it does boost your industry by a lot. Holy Toledo, I'm very lucky. I am indeed. It's a good thing I declared war on Shredder, and otherwise it would be a piece of cake this run. I mean, obviously I would be able to just wreck everybody with no problems at all. Anyway, I do want to discover this Red Supergiant. I'm curious what is in there, and apparently this is a very, very long way to backdoor the Pilgrims. Alright, that's good to know. Alright, Tortuga has finished the thing, that's nice, and Guard Post is once again mine. Now, what did the Piggers do when I was away? They installed infinite supermarkets and they also installed epigenetic crop seeding. Okay, I'm not gonna scrap it. It does cost me a lot of dust, but it's something I do not even have access to just yet, and I can't complain if it gives me more population in the system. So that is nice. That is really nice. I do want to get stealth construction as soon as possible though, so that Guard Post is less vulnerable to attacks. Now, other people will actually coming in my general direction. I don't really know this just yet. Should I actually go ahead and try to capture Gurkha? Why not? You only live once. I'm gonna stop, but I'm not gonna say YOLO. Actually, I just did say YOLO, but you know how it goes. Anyway, Matrix, my dear beloved friend, what can you do for me? Not much, I'm afraid. What can any of my systems do for me? Well, death cells with the new acquisition of hexaferrum can actually make me some magnetic field generators, which is very, very useful, I may say so myself, because I need the science. That said, I don't believe there's anything else that anything else could do. Except for this system, which could actually go for sustainable funds, and maybe xenotourism agencies as well. Yeah, in fact, I could do this. That's very nice, I'm gonna go for it, and I'll have more dust this way, because right now I'm losing dust? Yeah, I guess Guard Post is not the best system for dust protection at the moment, which is rather sad. It means that Tortuga will in fact have to convert me some industry into dust. For me to just gain 1 dust per turn, that's kinda pathetic. Alright, I do need this dust, and I do want another hero to start leveling him up, so I'm gonna also go for dust conversion on my main system for 1 or 2 turns to hire a new hero. Alright, let's end the turn and continue talking about helium. So why do we lose it, you may ask? Well, first of all, we do not produce a lot of helium. There are 2 ways to make helium. One I don't remember, the other is through radioactive... how do I call it? Radioactive thingy, I forget the word for it. You know, when you do something radioactive, you can in fact produce helium. But other than that, there are not that many sources of helium on Earth. The other thing about helium, it's very, very light. It is in fact so light that it can go up to the top layers of our atmosphere, and when it is just barely held by our gravitational field on Earth, what happens? Well, then the solar wind comes into play, and what it does, it is actually blowing. I'm gonna show, actually, you know what virtualizes this best? This thing. What happens is that when you look at this, it's basically what happened. Imagine that this dust is helium, and imagine that we have sun on the left here, like we do in the system in fact. So what happens is this sun is blowing with its solar wind. It's blowing the helium away from our planet into the cosmos itself. It is not the fastest process, but it is going to, you know, deplete our natural stockpile of helium in the next 30 to 40 years. And although we can make helium on our own, we're not gonna have any more in the nature itself. Now, what are the consequences of this? I don't know in terms of in terms of other living beings that live on Earth. I don't know if anything is, you know, dependent on our helium being there. Also, I need to turn around to actually save Guard Post. That's annoying, but oh well. I guess I don't really have a choice now, do I? Yeah, I do not. I want to keep Guard Post rather than capturing Gurkha. So that's the one thing. But what do we, humans, use helium for? Well, that's a good question that I can in fact answer to a certain degree. So for example, first of all, let me hire a hero, but the most common use of helium is as a cooling device for loads of, I don't know, medical thingies. By medical thingies, I mean, for example, you know those big bulky machines that are used to, I don't know, detect brain tumors, for example? I don't remember how they're called or what they do in fact, because I'm not the master in terms of medical stuff as well, but I know there are those machines, and in fact they need a very powerful coolant. And this coolant is usually helium, because it is exceptionally good at cooling some superconductors. Because of its unique abilities and the fact that there is in fact no... how is it called? You can have something that is a gas, you can have a liquid, and you can have a... you know, the third form. I don't remember how it's called. But you cannot have this third form of helium. It can only be liquid. Unless you have this helium at, you know, the absolute 0 temperature. And at the same time, you also squeeze it really hard. I mean really hot, under a huge pressure, then you can actually have this third form of helium. I don't remember how it's called, my English failed me. Sorry, it happens. So helium is very interesting, but we actually need it and we are about to run out of it, which is kinda sad. But other thing about helium is one of its isotopes. So there is a certain isotope of helium that I don't remember the name of, which could theoretically be probably used, theoretically probably, yeah, that's a big probability, but it still could theoretically be used for thermonuclear reaction, which does not produce any radioactive waste whatsoever, but it does create a lot of electricity. Now, the problem is we do not have a lot of this particular helium isotope. In fact, we have almost none. Let's go into manual for this battle, and in the meanwhile I'll continue talking about helium. But we kinda actually acquired this isotope of helium because there is a huge stockpile of it near Earth. Yes, you guessed it. On Moon, there is this particular isotope of helium at mass. We can just have regular mines on Moon that harvest, or in fact mine, this isotope of helium that we could use for thermonuclear, you know, power plants that do not produce any radioactive waste and yet still create a lot of electricity. Now, what is the enemy actually using? Hold on a second, but because I would rather know. Kinetics, alright, let's go for magnetic field then. Yeah, magnetic field for the win, and then, yeah, they're running away. So anyway, what does it mean? It means that whenever we have the technology to actually make it profitable, then we actually will have mines on the Moon that will transport stuff from Moon to Earth in order for us to use. And it's not a distant future as well. I'm pretty sure that NASA is working heavily on the technology that will allow us to make those trips, those frequent trips to Moon, you know, actually worth the effort. Which is kind of amazing. I cannot wait until we actually have regular mines on the Moon that people can just walk in. Like, I don't know, hey, what is your job, Bill? Oh, I'm mining on the Moon. How awesome does it sound? Is it just me or is it incredibly awesome? It might be just me, but in my opinion, it is in fact incredibly awesome. Alright, I do want Veteran. Reason why I want Veteran is because there is a Harvester ability which I want to get as soon as possible. But anyway, in the meantime, just because there isn't much else we can do in this 10, I don't think so. There isn't much else we discovered. What did we discover in the last 10? Oh, I believe we just are able to make better ships that we do not really need at the moment. I could make another fleet to invade Pilgrims, but it's not the top on the top list of our priorities just yet because I don't need the dust without the industry to dust converter thingy, and right now I cannot in fact do this, which is rather sad. So wood system does not need any improvements. Ruins do not, so I can use them to generate me some dust, and dust silos, they do need some happiness improvements, but I cannot get any at the moment, so I'm gonna make them produce me some dust as well. In fact, you know, why would I bother? Oh, because I'm losing a lot. Alright, that's the answer to this question. Anyway, how much actually I can get interplanetary transport network on Griba, that's fairly awesome. Can I get anything on this system? I don't believe I can, although it is producing a lot. Is it enough industry? That's 60. Yeah, I can in fact go for interplanetary transport network on a guard post as well. How about Tortuga? Tortuga, how much do we have saved industry? Not a lot, and it's not worth to go for public-private partnerships just yet, and I cannot afford magnetic field generators either. So alright, and I think that's good enough for this 10. So one more thing that I just remembered. Do you think that the Earth is losing or gaining mass? Well, first of all, how would the Earth gain mass? Currently, the only way of Earth gaining mass is for, you know, alien thingies to actually crash on it, right? So we're talking about asteroids, meteors, or bits of other smaller matter that actually go through the Earth's atmosphere and land on it. And the total mass by which they increase the mass of Earth is fairly huge. I don't remember the exact number, however. But the problem is the solar winds. Yes, that's right. We are in fact losing way more matter than we gain. However, you do not need to be alarmed because at the current rate we are losing 0.000 some and some more zeros, 0.1% of matter with each year. So it will take a while for our Earth to actually, you know, vanish. And it will probably not happen. At least not in the humankind's history, so don't you worry about that. Right, I'm gonna lose guard post again, as annoying as it is. That's why I had to turn my fleet around. It's not going to make it in time. Just watch us travel back and forth between guard post and Gierka. It's gonna be so annoying. But oh well, I guess I do need another fleet after all, but at the same time I don't really have the dust to support it, which is rather annoying, if I may say so myself. But anyway, what kind of... Alright, I just remembered, we have discovered the cruiser technology, as well as we are now able to colonize lavas. Which is good, because in 2 turns my main system will stagnate, so I will need to colonize this lava, which is very nice. Keep in mind, I could always colonize the lavas, but now it will not, you know, be applying any penalty to me for doing so. So what we can do now is in fact design a new ship, and it's design a new ship, not to modify the existing one, and it's going to be the Sickle class ship. Sickle? Are we in Russia or something? No disrespect to Russia, I mean, you know, I'm in the Soviet Russia. Sickle was kind of the thing. But anyway, yeah, apparently it's called Sickle. Strange, I was sure that this ship is called Giga or something, apparently it's called Sickle. Oh well. Anyway, it's not my favorite ship design. In fact, I think that I'm one of like 2 people that think that Sophon's ship design is probably the worst. I probably am all alone in this case, although I think I like Kravis ships a little bit less, in fact. I do love those ships, don't get me wrong, I just like them the least. Anyway, what I need on this ship, I think I'm gonna go with... Well, actually I do have flag defense and I have deflectors as well. At the same time, this class of ship, it is a cruiser, so it does support armor tonnage modules and makes them cost less tonnage. So I could just spam those, although I only have the weakest version of armor, being the protective plating, which is very, very non-efficient. So I guess going for them could be a bad idea in the end. So first things first, I do want some weapon slots. And I have no hyperion, so I cannot go for laser just yet, that's annoying. But I can go for some missiles, because hey, why not? In fact, it is a bigger ship, so I can go for some more slugs and some more missiles as well. I can go for some depleted armor and for some extended fuels. And then, why not, in fact, do something that I didn't want to do, and to go for some armor as well. In fact, I have increased my armor by 30 HP, 35 HP. 3500, no 100, but 35 times 10, 350 HP, wow, that was so difficult to say. It was not that much HP in fact, but it is something, and I can't create the Sickle because I have not named it. Right, what form of energy am I going to honor by creating this thing? That's a good question, and I need to think about this. It's going to be, what have I used? I used the magnetic thingy, and I used the... mass as well, right? So what is the next thing? I think thermal energy, right? Thermal. Why is it in big H, capital H? Now better. Alright, so thermal energy has been discovered. I mean, not really discovered because we always knew it exists. We're made of thermal energy, but we discovered thermal energy in terms of a ship. How cool it would be if this ship was actually made purely of thermal energy. That would be possible, since my people can... Well, we are made of all forms of energy, but we can kinda, you know, focus on one in particular, so I guess it is possible. Anyway, I don't think there is much else for me to do in this particular turn. I can install magnetic fuel generators, which is very important. I do want to have more science, although they do cost a lot of dust as well, which is slightly annoying, but hey, there isn't much I can do. Right, I do need to discover a new source of dust, which is a problem, but I can deal with that later. For now, I'm doing okay with my industry to dust conversion, and I can end the turn and drink some more juice. You just have to excuse me for a second while I pour down my glass. My champagne glass, which isn't all that big, but whatever. It's good. However, something I discovered, apparently champagne glass is not the best for tasting juice. It does taste slightly worse than it did with other glasses, so... You know, you learn something— No, come on, pirates! Of course, my ship is not going to retreat to Takim. No, this would be too nice. It has to retreat back where it came from. Yeah, that's annoying. And oh, hi Sheridan! Right, Luminous barely escaped me, but It actually not only survived, it was also escaping in the right direction, but there is a lot of pirates in here, and they are heading in the general direction to take him. That's bad, it means that I need another fleet after all. And I don't have the dust to sustain it, that's okay though. Now, Sheridan is extremely annoying, because keep in mind, I can only attack the weakest fleet, which is... Actually, apparently they merged the fleets together, that's good. It's gonna provide us with some quality entertainment, aka blowing things up. So I guess what Sheridan are doing right now is that kinda is trying to scout, kinda is testing defenses, and kinda is just being annoying as they tend to. But that's okay, because now I have a hero and I have highly leveled ships. Some highly leveled ships, which are in fact wonderfully more powerful than any of the enemy ships, which are in fact using beams. That's not fair. I'm not ready for the bees to come in. Well, apparently it doesn't matter since they are here anyway. So what is going to happen? I'm most likely going to be able to destroy the enemy fleet in this first turn. And in fact, I could go for that strategy as much as I want, because it only decreases my defense efficiency, but since I have no defense modules that will work against beams, it basically does nothing. Speaking of it, maybe I should have gone for it again, because two Destroyer and the Defender survived, which is bad, but then again I was able to counter the enemy weapon deception, which is all matters of helpful, and I was also able to repair some damage. Sadly, I think I'm going to lose a mass ship, which is bad because they are highly leveled up, and even though they are mass ships, which make them like the weakest ships I could possibly have, they still are, you know, decent at what they do. And by decent I mean good, because of the XP, and if I had to retrofit them, they would actually be fairly powerful. Alas, that did not happen, I lost a mass, and the other one is heavily damaged. Oh well, it's the magnetic fields, I mean ships, that I care more about, so I guess it all worked out in the end. And I was able to level up my hero, which is splendid, because I do need those level ups. Because I'm kinda rushing for Harvester, but that's okay, I'm just 2 levels away from Harvester, and then my dust problems will be averted, because I'll just be able to pirate some dust from my enemies. Can I use pirate as a verb? Well, I just did. Deal with it. Anyway, I need to condense this medium lava because I am about to stagnate. And what else I need to do? Well, first of all, I do actually want to discuss some better armor, and even though I'm kinda rushing for greater manipulation, I would love to have better version of armor that I could use on my cruisers. So how about I rush for this and install on my cruisers, so I will retrofit my cruisers soon, so that they do not have any deflectors or flak. I might leave some flak on them to be able to fight pickers effectively, but other than that, they will only have armor, because the enemies that I'm fighting thus far are mostly focusing on, you know, those weapons types that I don't have a good counter against just yet. By the way, Ayoth! That's holy wow! That's my new baby. As simple as that. In fact, Matrix this just make me 2 more portions of Luminous. One I will send to Hideo, because I'm about to discover this gravity manipulation technology, so I'll be able to cleanse Hideo with not that much trouble. I don't think I'm going to send anything to Zain, but I will send something to Ayoth, definitely, hoping that the pirates will not stop me in the meantime. You know what I could do, in fact? I could modify Luminous ships so that they could survive a possible encounter with pirates. And right, since this ship is always going to escape, it doesn't have to fear the missiles, but it does have to fear the kinetics. So I'll install debrided armor on it, making it just slightly more likely to survive some kind of attacks. I believe it's good. And if you believe otherwise, well then, too bad, I guess. Alright, is there anything else I could do? Well, Gribba most certainly can now go for magnetic field generators, which is good, but I think that's about it. Yeah, there isn't really anything else I can do in this turn. That's okay though. Next turn I will be able to retrofit my cruisers and strike back and smite those nasty Sheridan foes. How long is discussed, by the way? About 45 minutes, that's my average length of cast, and I don't really want to go over this because then I'll have more troubles encoding the video, as I mentioned on numerous times, and hey! That's going to be a problem. Anyway, first of all, this Nap has leveled up, which, whatever, I guess he leveled up. Actually, you know what? Well, actually going for my wit will not help me because I'm not a corporate, so I cannot unlock more dust. Never mind. I'll just go for more labor. Anyway, what is going to happen now? Now, the enemy does have a substantial advantage over my fleet, so they are likely going to win. The hero is just at the same level as I am, but because they most likely went for something different than just, you know, veteran, which gives me +1 to everything, they are probably going to win this battle, especially since they have defenders with loads of kinetics. You know, they only have kinetics and beams, so I might just be able to make it if I go for the proper counters to the enemy cards. I might be able to survive this assault, which would be helpful. I'm not gonna lie. It would be very helpful. So let's start with magnetic field. I hope that the enemy is in fact going to go for something that is countered by magnetic field, but you know, here's hoping, right? There isn't much else I could do to actually make this happen, sadly. Alright, let's wait for the arrival turn to end, and then we're gonna have some squashing, and the enemy went for the strategy. That's bad. How can I counter tactics? Problems with tactics. There isn't anything that counters it, except for weapon overclock. So why not go for weapon overclock? Yeah. And then maybe repair something in the melee phase, because I'll probably sustain a lot of damage in the other phases. Right, so the enemy was actually able... Do they have flak? They have a lot of flak. So the only way for me to deal damage to them is actually via kinetics. And come on, the enemy went for weapon overclock as well, that's annoying. So I guess I'll have to go for magnetic field, which I guess the enemy will not be foolish enough to be countered by. Yeah, this is a real testament to PANCZASU actually buffing the AI. In the past it was literally randomly picking cards. Now it actually does think before picking any cards. Anyway, I'm taking loads of damage, way more than I was hoping I would take. And wow, come on guys! It's not cool, we are supposed to be dumb. Apparently they are not. I think I might lose my entire fleet, which would be very helpful. My missiles are not going to be a thing because they will be horribly countered, and melee phase is not the best for using missiles. And yeah, come on, my hero is going to need... Yeah, my hero will need revival, which is the most annoying thing of all. I have to spend a lot of dust to get him back on his feet, and I barely dealt any damage to the opponent as well. That's just horrible. They had the exact appropriate means to actually counter my ships. And now, are they going to try? Yes, they're trying to invade the Matrix as well. How much will it cost to 500? 500 yourself. Alright, you know what this means. It means business. So before we end this cast, let's go to thermal and let's modify this beast. Alright, protective plating, ear gone. Depleted armor, you know what? I'll leave some of it in. I'm gonna get rid of extended fields. No, do not leave the field. And what I'm gonna install is the loads of armor. Beat that! I know it requires titanium, which I don't have, but I do have it on my main system, and that's where I'm going to create those cruisers, so it's all good. Now, this cruiser will have a lot of HP, and it will in fact be also able to repair any damage it takes. Not all of it, but a big portion of it as well. Maybe in fact I should go for some more depleted armor as well. Especially since the enemy, yeah, let's just create some ships that are designed to counter the Sheridan. So what I'm going to do is install even more Ultra Dense slugs. As many of them. No! Wait a second, it is against the custom home rules I invented. I said I'm going to go for equal amount of weapons at all times. And I don't want to, you know, neglect what I just said. So anyway, I'm gonna install some more deflectors to actually do kinda counter Sheridan. And a bunch of reactive hulls are also going to be useful. And I think this ship has a fairly good chance of not only surviving this fleet, if you can survive a fleet, but also dispatching it and destroying it completely and utterly, which would be by all means very helpful. So first of all, let us get some hardened framing, and then create a bunch of ships that will already have some level ups because of the hardened framing. How many can I get? I have no idea. I'm just gonna queue up a bunch of those. And oh no, parts are here as well. I'm gonna lose a Luminous. That's very sad. Well, this cast has not been horribly good for me, but I guess I'll get back Guard Post again, which is mildly annoying. You discard, just go ahead and discover what is in this system, because hey, why not? Parts are going in the general direction of Zion, so I guess I will need to provide my Luminous ships with escort when I try to go in this general direction. That's good to know. How will I be able to support this kind of dust expense? Well, apparently very easily now that I don't have to, support any ships. So, you know what, why not we continue making some extra dust, because we kinda need it. You did say, however, how about you do get some more extra science, because science is helpful and useful. And let us also kill some extra science for me to not have to worry about in the future. Now what do I need? Botanical scanning could be useful. I do need some extra happiness, I believe, although advanced simulations are also awesome. I'll think about it. I don't think I need to do this now. For what I do need to do is say my outro and save the game. It was PANCZASU, the mighty mixed spammer. If you somehow managed to enjoy this cast, then please like it. Maybe even subscribe to my channel if you wish to see more. Honestly, obviously, I do want you to leave a comment below this video because it helps me a lot and I like reading them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you online.